today we're going to solve inequalities in one variable. One variable. So if I'm graphing, how many lines do you think I need to graph this? If it's one variable? One. One variable, one line. That is why you do not need graph paper to graph these. How nice is that? So here's our first problem. And it was meant to be with clickers, and we don't have the clickers with us today. But what I want you to do is write down the problem. That's the white circle here in the middle. And solve it. Write on your paper. By the way, it's a one-step equation. Not a whole lot of work. And once you solve it, figure out what answer goes with A, B, C, or D. But don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. Most of you have an answer? All right. So what you're going to do right now is, since I don't have the clickers, I can't just have you unanimously tell me what you've got. We're actually going to do this by fingers in front of your test. Okay? So if you think it's the letter A, you're going to put up one finger, and it's going to be the pointer finger, by the way. And I state this because I taught this down in Florida also, and I used this same system, and I had to write up 5 young gentlemen because their one finger was an inappropriate finger. Okay? So I'm just stating now, one finger is always the pointer finger. Okay? If you think it's B, it's going to be 2 fingers. C is 3, and D will be 4 fingers. So hold up however many fingers you think go with that answer, and just look at me. That way you're not looking around seeing who thinks what. Okay, go ahead and put your fingers down, and let's see what the answer is. It is C. C. So you're probably wondering, how did they get C? So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I get x is less than 7. Less than. So I know if it's just less than or just greater than, what's the symbol? Good, it's just an open circle, right? If it has the equal sign, then it gets that closed-in circle, right? Does that make sense to everyone now? Okay, so now you kind of have a little bit more of a hint for the second one. So go ahead and write down the problem. And see if you can solve that equation one step again. And then figure out what answer goes with it. Everybody have an answer? I'll give you a few more seconds. I've got a couple people saying no, nope, not yet. All right, got an answer now? We're close? Okay, so once again, 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C, 4 is D. Go ahead and hold that many fingers up for me. All right, so I've got a mix and match. I've got 1s and 2s. That makes me happy. Okay. Why? Why does that make me happy quickly? Yeah. If anything else, I know immediately you now know the difference between open and closed, right? How many of you narrowed it down immediately, didn't even do any work, you knew it was A or B? That's a great strategy. That's a great testing strategy, especially for the keystone exam. Okay? Eventually, they're going to have an Algebra 2 keystone exam. I don't know when that's going to be administered, but if it's administered next year and you're still in this high school, you take it. Okay, even though you won't be in Algebra 2 hopefully next year. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this. I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So I get 3, and I get the x. Now, do I ever like my x to be on the right side? I don't. I like it on the left side. So I'm going to switch the x, I'm going to switch the 3, and if I switch them, I have to switch the sign also. So x is greater than or equal to 3, which gives me the answer C. Make sense? Okay, so both of those you should have known from Algebra 1, right? None of that was new. None of that was completely different. So now let's talk about where can you be using this in real life. So take a minute and go ahead and read this example. So real life problem here, and it's actually happened, especially, how many of you have ever went to Kennywood? You see the little thing, I don't know what that is. It tells you you must be this tall to ride this ride. Okay, that's what this is. It's a height requirement. Well, let's talk about how that relates to what we're talking about. So I need to be at least 52 inches. Let's figure out which symbol will mean that. Who thinks they know which symbol would fit there? Come on up, Angela. Come on up, don't be afraid. Let me change it to the right thing for you. And what you're going to do is pick whichever symbol it is and pull it up into there. And if you're wrong, that means we get to talk. Okay, so she just wrote, my height must be less than or equal to 52 inches. Oh, wait. Okay, go ahead and click the little white button on the side with the little red circle in the middle. Oh, look, that never happened. How great is that? It never happened. So I need to be greater than or equal to 52 inches. I'm allowed to be equal, right? Okay? I just have to be at least 52 inches. Who thinks they can do the other half then? Come on up, Mackenzie. Go ahead and put that symbol in that you think would work for cannot exceed 72 inches. So I have to be less than or equal to 72, right? No, this is the same problem though, isn't it? So instead of me writing two separate equations, I know that I have to be between 52 and 72. So I wonder, can I write this instead as a compound inequality? Such as this way instead? Now, I know in the last one, Mackenzie and Angela were able to drag this up, but for some reason it's not working on this one. Okay, so we're going to write in the symbol. Who thinks they could write in, let's go with the easiest one, this symbol for me? Who thinks they could write that symbol in? Sammy? Yeah, perfect. All right, go ahead and write in the H as for the 72. Perfect. Notice she's not flipping that around, right? They just match perfectly in there. What about the other one? Anybody think they could write that other one in? Josh? All right, so Josh thinks he can do the other one. We're going to let him write that in for us. Why I chose pink on green, I don't know. Josh, you are the first one today to get that right. You have to flip that time. Perfect job. Now, let's talk about why, though. See how here the H and the 52 are this way, but then down here they flipped, right? That means the sign has to flip, like we talked about on that one problem earlier today, right? Does that make sense? Let's do one last thing with it. Go ahead and write that answer down. The 52 is less than or equal to H is less than or equal to 72. I know you didn't write down the word problem. I did not expect you to. But we're going to graph it. So, why are we graphing it? So that you know exactly what I expect whenever you graph in here. And I am probably one of the easiest teachers to graph with, okay? So watch this. Dominant. What numbers do I have in this problem? Those are the numbers I want to see. 52, 72. Most of your teachers in the past have probably told you you must have 0 on a number line. No, not in here. Not in here, because there's no reason to start down at 0 to get up to 52, right? Put the numbers I need on. Okay. Go with Noah. Open or close circles? That is correct. They will be close because they have the equal sign with them. All right. Now, where am I going to shade, though? Shade. Do I want to be smaller than 52 inches?
No.
There you go. See, use that knowledge from the word problem to help us to graph. Right? I want to be between there. Now, Jake, Let me repeat that. It's the letters in the middle, shade in the middle. That's a quick, easy way to remember that, isn't it? Ah. Now we're going to talk about ones where you're actually going to shade on the outside, and you'll see my little hint for that next. So, let's give you another problem where you have to rewrite it. So take a look at these problems and see which answer you think would match with that. So you should all have an answer. We're going to do the lovely finger thing again. 1 is A, 2 is B, C is 3, and 4 is D. So hold up however many fingers you think it is. Ooh, I've got a lot of 2s. That's fantastic. Now, was anybody able to narrow it down and get rid of a couple answers? If they are, how'd you do it? Okay, keep going. Less than or equal to? What do you mean? That took out A and C. Because this one has the equal to sign, right? That means the 3 should have the, oh, but they don't. They don't have the equal sign. So A and C are out. How easy was that, right? Now, I actually didn't even do the whole problem. After I saw that, I then checked this symbol. And it matches B. Does it match D? No. That made it simple, didn't it? So using your resources to eliminate answers will definitely help you on multiple choice tests. All right, so we're going to try to graph one. And I've got a lovely equation here. Go ahead and write that equation down. Oh wait, it's the one from the last slide. Go ahead and graph it. So write that equation down, man. Go ahead and graph it. Okay. You want to graph it for me? Lovely. I've given you the number line. That's all the more I've given you. So I didn't give her a number line. I gave her a line. Perfect. Fantastic. Wonderful job. Pretty easy? So far okay, right? All right. So, here I've got a large paragraph, I know. I do not want you to write that paragraph down. I want you to read it and write the key words out of that paragraph instead. So, there are 4 key words here. The yellow and the blue, yes. Okay. Intersection goes with what word? And. So I probably wrote intersection and on the same line. Then underneath there, I probably wrote union and or. Those 4 words go together. Okay? Now, you may be saying, well, Missy, why didn't you just write those up there? Why did you write that whole pair? Well, I'm not only trying to get you to understand math, I'm also trying to get you eventually ready for college. One of the things college professors will do will be throw up a ton of words up on the screen, and you won't have time to write them all. So you've got to be able to read it and write down just keywords, which is what you just practiced right there, right? Wrote down just the keywords. All right. So let's look at intersection. So you have intersection is with what word? And. Well, let's look at a graph for it. An intersection graph will be one where they are in the middle. So you may want to draw that graph beside intersection and and. A union graph, an or graph, will be one where it's shaded on the outside instead. So, on this one, I've already given you the hint. It's the variables in the middle, you shade in the middle, right? Well, in a union problem, an or problem, you're going to see the word or. It's going to be right there in the problem. Or, and we shade on which part of the graph? The outside, right? Outside. Or outside. Or outside. Hey, they both begin with O's. That's a way to help you to remember where to shade. If it's an or problem, you'll shade on the outside. And we'll see a problem like that. Well, let's go ahead and let's get into a very hard problem. Are you ready? Okay. Here's the hard problem, right here. Fractions all the way. Are these difficult? Good. I like hearing no. What am I going to do first? Get rid of the fractions, right? What would I need to multiply everything by? Well, I could go with 12. I'm not going to go that high. I'm going to go with 6. Okay? So take a minute and multiply everything by 6. So you should have multiplied everything by 6. So I'm going to put a 6 here. 6, 6, 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2 times 2 is 4. 6 times r is 6r. 6 times 4 is 24. And 6 divided by 2 is 3 times 7 is 21. So if you remembered on your quiz on Friday, you had one problem that had all those fractions in it, right? And I told you if you did it my way, it would help you out. And look, it's still helping you out, isn't it? So it's something that's going to keep helping you. All right, what do I need to do next? Somebody raise your hand and tell me what I should do next. Get r by itself. How? Jake. Good job. From the 21 and the 4. Very good job, Jake. Okay, so over here on the left side, I get negative 20. Is less than or equal to 6r. Is less than, oops, that should be a 24 there, negative 3. So I need to do it to all of the sides. Divide everything by 6. Now we forgot to talk about this. But when do I ever switch that sign? Angela. If I divide by a negative or technically multiply also. Is that a negative number? No. So do I switch the sign? No. All right, negative 20 over 6. Can we simplify that? What goes into both 20 and 6? 2, right? So that'll be negative 10 over 3. And negative 3 over 6 becomes negative 1 half. Go ahead and graph that. Take a minute, go ahead and graph that. What numbers need to go on my graph? Angela, give me one. I'm going to use the numbers I have in the problem, right? So that means the other one's negative 1 half. You do not have to always put whole numbers on your number line. They are allowed to be fractions in here. Open or close dots. How about this one? Close. How about the other one? And since it's an R's in the middle, I shade in the... There you go. That's it. Feel pretty good? Okay, so we've done a lot of intersection problems. I still need to do what other kind of problem? A union and OR problem. So here's our OR problem. 2 parts. Take a minute, copy that down. I'm going to tell you right now, most people actually think OR problems are twice as long, and they are. So we have this OR problem, and here's what you have to do. You have to think of it as 2 separate problems. Here is problem 1, and here is problem 2. So what you need to do first is solve problem 1. Then you need to solve problem 2. Go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go through, since I've given you time to work on this problem, and you're still working, which is fine, but I'm going to go through and solve these quickly. Remember, I hate fractions. Right? And if you use this method, it works every single time. I'm going to multiply everything in this problem by 3. So I get negative 2x minus 9 is less than negative 21. I'm going to add 9. So I get negative 2x is less than negative 12. Divide by negative, what do I have to do? I have to switch the sign. If I forget to do that, the whole problem will be wrong. Okay, over here I'm going to multiply everything by 2. So I get negative x minus 10 is greater than negative 10. Now, if you remembered, I asked when do you change the sign, and Angela said when I divide by a negative, and I kind of corrected her and said, or if I multiply by a negative. Well, Angela, if you do it my way every time where you get rid of fractions, you will only ever divide by a negative. You will never multiply by 1. So that's a great actual thing to be thinking of, right? So I'm going to add 10. So I get negative x is greater than 0. And this is important to show this next step. Because if I forget to show that step, I forget to change the sign. Right? Okay. Now we graph it. 0. 6. What kind of dot? Both will be what? Open. Both will be open. Right? Okay, let's read this one. X is, what symbol is that? Less than 0. Left hand's on this side, right? So I'm going to shade on that side. Now this one says x is greater than 6. That is on this side. Now, how many of you are thinking the little hint I gave you instead? Yeah. Hey, look. You didn't have to look at those symbols, did you? It says or. She shaded on the outside. That works. That works. So that will be your hint on that one. Any questions? All right. So take last night's assignment, turn it over. Make sure your first and last names in the top right-hand corner again. And copy down the